Suzy Wrong. Joy Drive with Dee and Warren's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong joins us to talk about the Mardi Gras Film Festival. How are you, Suzy?
I'm good. You know, I go to all 4 of my local chemists before I would go to the doctor.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So you'd happily get the COVID vaccine from your pharmacist?
Yeah, I've been getting my flu vaccine from my local pharmacist for years. My doctor's just too busy. It's so hard to get an appointment there.
That's a good point, isn't it? Because sometimes it is difficult to get in and see a doctor.
I often think that with the flu jab. I get mine from the doctor and I think, oh, you probably should be, the receptionist could do this and you don't have to charge me for the whole, you don't have to charge me for the whole appointment also. No, good point.
I feel like they've got so much on their plate, you know?
Yeah.
I think they've got bigger fish to fry.
Yes, I don't think we can probably take all our GPs off general practice to start injecting people. So, yeah, we're going to have to rely on other allied health professionals such as the pharmacist. Suzy Wrong, the Mardi Gras Film Festival is in full swing.
Yeah, today we're talking about 2 excellent features from the Mardi Gras Film Festival program that anyone from within Australia is going to be able to stream between the dates of 18th February and 4th of March. In Forgotten Roads, a film from Chile, 70-year-old Claudina is newly widowed, and upon moving into her daughter's home, Claudina develops an unexpected romantic connection with another mature lady, Elsa, who lives next door. And in the Hong Kong film Suk Suk also features a 70-year-old protagonist. Park Suk is a taxi driver, a married man with children and grandchildren, but he also lives a double life, occasionally cruising toilet blocks for momentary sexual kicks. One day he meets Hoi Suk and the 2 older men find themselves having to negotiate their secret and forbidden love. Now, it is worth pointing out that both films are about contemporary life, but as we discover in Chile and in Hong Kong, coming out is not so easy for the elderly. Dee Mason, do you think that things are any easier for Australian seniors?
I would think, I would want to hope so. I certainly think, well, the thing I think about both of these films, Suzy Wrong, is that it shows that the seniors seem to be more progressive than their offspring. You know, in both these films, the children of these people are the main inhibitor to them coming out. It's not society more broadly, it seems.
Yeah, because they look at their parents as, you know, as very sort of like figures that they've imagined them to be. Like, as we all do, we all imagine our parents to be this sort of people that are not really people. They are parents. So it's hard for them to sort of have a more flexible view about them.
So what was the Chilean film called again? Something Bridge, something?
Forgotten Roads.
See? Forgotten Roads. I took some issue with this. I mean, I think it is achingly beautiful. Some of the cinematography is gorgeous. The early scenes, particularly when she's on the original property, and I'm aware that nobody's probably seen it, but it looks quite stunning. I've been to Chile, and I think some wacky community over there, but I think that it looks beautiful, and you can see the contrast between the old and the new when she moves into town. But the thing with the UFO lady, you're going to have to explain that to me, because that was some whack stuff.
Well, haven't you heard of things like that? There are little towns all over the world where they kind of have this sort of urban myth that's grown completely out of control, where they think that they're seeing UFOs and things. And I think in the case of this film, you kind of see how the people in the town were much more excited about welcoming aliens than they were welcoming queer people.
Yeah, see, I knew there'd be some sort of clever parallel, some sort of thing. Yeah, I thought that was sidelining and weird, but it's good that I like the symbolism in the film that you have to go over the bridge to be, you know, to sort of to go to the other part of town to be gay, and I thought that the difference in the lifestyle.
She had to go to the wrong side of the tracks to find a queer space.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. I don't know. I didn't buy the love story, but then I'm really a hard sell. I wonder also for the Mardi Gras Film Festival, and I think the same for Suk Suk, how you promote this film, because it's very hard, I imagine, to get people to look at love stories involving older LGBTIQ people. So I think I'm really glad I saw them both, but I don't know how to promote it other than just to talk about it.
Any comments, Warren?
Yes, I've got to be honest. I started watching Forgotten Roads and I didn't finish watching it, but Suk Suk I absolutely loved, to be honest with you. I thought it really captured the impact and the cost of having an entire life in the closet, and I thought it did it really, really well. You know, the need to have sex in the toilet blocks, you know, the initial rejection of gay friendship for you know, that fear of association, and the only intimacy that getting was on a vinyl mat in a grotty sauna, and I think it really showed the vulnerability of older members as well. You know, the dependency on family, and particularly in you know, the Asian culture as well. I was quite surprised with some of the reactions from some of the family members there, and that willingness to sacrifice, you know, potential relationships in order to have a safe home environment. I thought it captured the whole vulnerability of older members of our community really, really well, and also it dealt with that dilemma of nursing homes, and you know, where Hoy, and I don't want to spoil it, would rather go to a normal nursing home, and they said normal, rather than tell his son about him being gay. And I thought, oh, that was really, really, really sad. And the other thing that I thought it did well is religion. So in this case, it was Christianity, and it just showed how it destroys lives. And, you know, even, you know, and I know Dee and I have had this experience in our personal lives when friendships become conditional upon you accepting their religion. And that came across brilliantly in the film. And for me, I just thought, you know, what an evil, insidious and rotten tribe to be part of, to have to be rejected if you don't conform to their requirements. So I loved the film. I thought it was just absolutely amazing. Really, really good.
Are you there, Susie? You've silenced her finally, Warren. We'll try and get her back on the line, but we're talking about the. Let me just see if she's still there. You there, Susie? No, she's definitely gone. We're talking about the Mardi Gras.
She fell asleep while I was going on about.
She's watching
Suk
another
Suk.
Streaming service. We're talking with Suzy Wrong about two films, Suk Suk and The Road Less Travelled. No, you remember it, Warren. That other one.
The other one was called Forgotten Roads. The other thing I want to say to you, Dee, is there's a moment in the film in the sauna, and it's something that I don't think we experience here, is there was a dining room, and it was so lovely because these elderly people were at the sauna and they went and had a dinner together in, you know, Asian style dinner, sharing the banquet in the sauna at a dining table. And I was quite touched by that, and I thought, wow, they escaped to this sauna, and it's their oasis away from everything else that goes on in their, you know, their inauthentic lives.
Yeah, and it's a truly welcomed gendered space. That's one of those areas where, you know, people say, oh, I'm not sure about gendered spaces and why should dudes have their own space, and that is a good, as long as their women have got their own space as well. I think that's a You're on Joy Drive, and in a stroke of absolute luck, we found Suzy Wrong back on the computers. How are you doing, Suzy Wrong? That's technology for you, and that's lockdown.
Look, it's about old people today, so it only makes sense that the tech isn't working that great.
Can I ask you a sidebar question, Suzy? Have you ever helped a parent of yours with technology, and how do you feel about it?
Not really. No, I haven't. You know, my father was really always into technology, and no, I've never had that much drama. And to be fair, I'm one of those people that kind of left home really ASAP, so I never never experienced a lot of that stuff.
Oh, so you've saved yourself from the, hey, can you come over and fix my iPhone question that we're all getting.
Now, Suzy, before we lost you, I was talking about Suk Suk and my opinion of it, and I absolutely loved it. I won't go into all the reasons again, but I thought it was a great film. What did you think of it?
I love both films. I love the opportunity to examine what it must be like for old people, because, you know, almost invariably they've had to be in the closet. It's not like a matter of choice. You know, back in the 60s, 70s, there was no choice. There was no choice of being in or out. So if you're going to go through with what society expects, if you get married, have children and all that, to be safe, you know, like you don't want to get beaten up everywhere you go. And then when time comes, like now, where everything's free and easy, how do you handle that? How do you become your authentic self when you've got children and grandchildren and spouses, you know, next to you?
Who reject you?
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, like there was one scene that I think it was at a wedding banquet,
That's
and
right.
just that hurt of seeing your partner, with their wife, and it was obviously the kid's wedding, but just that hurt of I'm here as a guest, and it just reinforces that you are not as good, or you're not as ranked as high as what these family members are, despite the fact that I love being with you. And I mean, that was one of the most hurtful things, but how good did the movie portray that?
Yeah, it's so good that we sort of get in touch with that, because so much of queer culture is about the young, and we kind of think of freedom as a very simple, monolithic experience. But, when you present freedom to these people who are in the 60s and 70s, as we can see in these films, it's not that easy to just jump in.
Mm. And in both films, they had both put what they wanted on hold for so long. That's what made it sort of aching, that bit. Mm.
That cost.
Suzy Wrong, you were raised in Singapore. Do you know if it was I can't imagine it would be any easier than either of these countries in Singapore for older gays now?
I think it would be even harder than in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong kind of had several years of freedom maybe in the last 10, 15 years. In Singapore, we just never got to that point. And, sometimes you see, how sometimes people are just gay, and you can see it on their faces and their bodies.
Yeah.
And, you see them when you're out and about, and you just feel for them. And some people can hide really well, and some people can't, and they'll suffer the consequences all their lives.
Was Suk Suk made prior to the the recent turmoil we've seen in Hong Kong? Was it made 2018 or 19?
Yeah, it was made 2018, 2019. So I think it is made under this climate of China trying to get, greater control over it. So it is extraordinary that a film like that has appeared, because it has been I'm under the impression that it has been quite a few years since there's been such a well-received gay film to come out of Hong Kong.
Also, both films we're talking about today, they are timeless in that they are contemporary, but it could be, certainly the fashion and the cars and whatever, that could be put in any time. It doesn't sort of feel like it has to be very up to the minute. The issues that are being discussed are timeless, I think.
Well, I guess they are trapped in the past, aren't they? Because of the choices that they've made. Yeah. They've had to have children, have kids, and then it's so hard to move away from that. And we see that, and it's painful. And it's so good, I think, for us to understand parts of our community that live through that still today.
One of the things that I always use, one of the yardsticks for judging if I like a film or not, is how it invokes emotion in me. And admittedly, I'll cry if I accidentally step on a snail, but this film, Suk Suk, really did invoke that emotion.
It's incredibly tender.
Yeah.
It's so sensitively done.
I loved it. Suzy Wrong, do you have homework for us for next week?
Yeah, next week it's a new 4-part documentary called The Lady and the Dale. It's a 4-part documentary on Binge that's starting this weekend on Binge, about Elizabeth Carmichael, a notorious trans woman in the 1970s and an American entrepreneur in the automotive industry who could very well be a con artist as well.
Sounds fabulous.
Australian, British, American?
American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. The Lady and the Dale is the name of the 4-part show, which means that I'll get absolutely no work done again this week, because I'll at least get through 2 episodes for you, Suzy Wrong.
I love it, Suzy. It's so exciting, and I love it how we look forward to coming on and discussing them with you on a Tuesday.
That's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Well, when will we see you next, Suzy?
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks,
Suzy Wrong. Joy Drive with Dee and Warren's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
The dream of